Welcome to the Sleepless Historian. If you find comfort in our gentle explorations, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Also, remember to turn on loop, so the soothing journey may repeat, guiding you into a peaceful slumber. Now, let us settle in. Dim the lights around you. Take a moment to adjust your pillow and blanket, ensuring comfort embraces you. Breathe slowly and gently. Inhale deeply and exhale softly. Allow your shoulders to relax, releasing the weight of the day. Wow. Tonight, we embark on an unusually tranquil odyssey. We shall delve into the meticulous history of Byzantine spoon size standardization. This topic may sound rather mundane, and that is precisely its charm. Little by little, we will uncover the delicate measurements that shape the very spoons used for soup consumption in a time long past. Imagine, if you will, the imperial kitchens of Byzantium. Picture the flickering candlelight casting soft shadows upon polished wooden tables. In these spaces, skilled artisans labored over the creation of utensils, each spoon crafted with care and precision. We will explore the specific dimensions that were deemed appropriate for various soups, ranging from a modest broth to a richly spiced stew. With an emphasis on routine and etiquette, we will discover how these spoon sizes were agreed upon, standardized, and eventually implemented across the empire. Each measurement was essential, as it dictated not just culinary practices, but social customs and shared meals among the populace. As we journey through this unassuming subject, we will pay close attention to the minute details, the everyday logistics, and the well-established procedures that govern spoon crafting. The rhythms of daily life in Byzantium were deeply intertwined with these simple items. So, let us breathe in the calmness of this exploration and exhale any tension. Together, we shall navigate the subdued world of Byzantine spoon size standardization, slowly and gently. As we delve deeper into the world of Byzantine spoon size standardization, let us take a moment to appreciate the tools and materials involved in crafting these utensils. Artisans, skilled and dedicated, employed a variety of metals, including bronze, silver, and sometimes even gold, for the more affluent households. Bronze was particularly favored for its durability and resistance to corrosion. Each artisan, using tools such as chisels and hammers, would begin the process with a carefully chosen piece of metal, measuring it meticulously to ensure that the final product met the expected standards. The dimensions of spoons varied depending on their intended use. For instance, a spoon destined for light broths might be shorter and slender, while those intended for thicker stews were typically broader and deeper. This distinction was essential, as the structure of the spoon directly influenced the dining experience. A soup served with a shallow spoon would often be perceived as less formal, while a deeper spoon indicated a richer, more elaborate dish. Artisans would often keep a collection of templates, each one indicating specific measurements for different types of soups. These templates were crafted from wood or thin sheets of metal, allowing artisans to trace and cut the raw material with precision. The standard sizes were agreed upon by local guilds, who met regularly to discuss and refine these standards. These meetings, occurring perhaps once a month, were characterized by a rhythmic flow of conversation, where artisans shared knowledge and experiences, allowing for a gradual evolution of their craft. War. Each standardization process involved a careful examination of the average sizes of spoons already in use. Artisans would collect these utensils from various households, measuring them with calipers, which were simple instruments made of two arms that could be adjusted to determine distance. This step ensured that the new standards reflected the preferences of the populace. Once a standardized size was agreed upon, the artisans would begin the production phase. This process typically took place in workshops that were organized and efficient. Each craftsman would be assigned a specific task, whether it was shaping the metal, polishing the surface, or engraving decorative elements. The crafting of a single spoon could take several hours, depending on the complexity of the design. Let us breathe deeply together and exhale slowly, as we imagine the rhythmic sounds of mallets striking metal, the gentle scraping of tools against surfaces, and the soft whispers of artisans discussing their work. These sounds filled the air of the workshops, creating a comforting backdrop to the labor. In terms of storage, completed spoons were kept in wooden chests lined with soft cloth to prevent scratches and tarnishing. These chests were often intricately carved, a testament to the artisan's skills beyond mere spoon-making. When a household required new utensils, they would send a messenger to the workshop, requesting a specific number of spoons in particular sizes. The messenger would carefully detail the sizes needed, ensuring clarity in communication. The price of spoons was influenced by the material used and the intricate details of the design. A simple bronze spoon might cost a few denarii, while a beautifully engraved silver spoon could fetch several times that amount. Families would often save for special occasions, when they would purchase not just utensils, but a complete set for entertaining guests. As we reflect on the etiquette surrounding spoon usage, it becomes clear that these utensils were more than mere tools. The type of spoon one used could convey social standing. In formal settings, it was expected to use the larger, more ornate spoons, while smaller, plainer spoons might be reserved for everyday meals. Guests would arrive at a gathering, and upon entering, they would be greeted by carefully arranged tables, each setting meticulously prepared with the appropriate utensils. Slowly and gently. Imagine the ambience of such a gathering, the soft glow of candlelight illuminating the polished surfaces, the gentle clinking of spoons against bowls, and the murmurs of conversation, all harmonizing into a soothing atmosphere. When soup was served, the proper etiquette dictated that one should hold the spoon delicately, bringing it to the mouth with graceful movements. To slurp or make noise while consuming soup was frowned upon, considered a breach of decorum. Guests were expected to savor each bite, to appreciate the flavors and textures. The spoon, in essence, became a vessel for not just nourishment, but for social interaction and connection among those gathered. After the meal, the spoons would be collected and returned to the kitchen, where they would be cleaned with care. The cleaning process involved soaking them in warm water and gentle soap, followed by a thorough drying with soft cloths to ensure no water spots were left behind. This was a routine performed by kitchen staff, who understood the importance of maintaining the utensils in pristine condition for future use. Artisans also kept abreast of trends in spoon design. Occasionally, they would introduce new styles or embellishments that would catch the interest of the elite. A new pattern or a unique engraving could spark a wave of demand. Artisans would collaborate, sharing ideas and techniques, leading to a gradual evolution of spoon designs. This cycle of innovation was a gentle reminder of how even mundane items could reflect changing tastes and preferences among the populace. The seasonal rhythm of spoon production was closely tied to agricultural cycles. During harvest season, for instance, demand for spoons might increase as families celebrated with feasts. Conversely, in the colder months, the focus shifted towards simpler, more practical designs as families gathered around warming soups and stews. Slowly and gently, we can envision the artisans, their hands deftly working as they crafted each spoon. The warm light of their workshops, the soft scent of metal and wood, and the calm atmosphere enveloping them as they concentrated on their craft. As weeks passed, artisans would observe the spoons in use. They would watch how families interacted during meals, noting the significance of each spoon size. This observation further informed their practices and decisions. They gradually became attuned to the nuances of daily life, ensuring that their creations met the needs and expectations of those they served. Thus, the story of Byzantine spoon standardization is not merely about measurements. It is about understanding the delicate balance of utility and artistry. It is about the gentle interplay between craftspeople and the society they serve. The spoons, humble as they are, became a part of the larger tapestry of Byzantine life, each one a small yet significant piece in the puzzle of daily existence. Let us take a moment to breathe once more and settle deeper into this tranquil exploration. As we reflect on the quiet importance of these everyday items, as we continue our peaceful journey through the history of Byzantine spoon size standardization, let us focus on the specific materials and tools that artisans employed in their craft. The spoons themselves were often made from various metals, the most common being silver, bronze, and, occasionally, gold. Each metal had its unique properties, influencing not only the spoon's durability but also its weight and feel in the hand. Artisans would begin their work with raw sheets of metal, carefully selected for their quality and composition. These sheets would be cut into smaller shapes, usually rectangles, that would eventually become the spoon bowls and handles. The cutting process was done with precision, ensuring that each piece was uniform in size, as consistency was paramount in creating a standardized product. Once the metal pieces were cut, artisans would use hammers and anvils to shape the spoons. This process, known as forging, required both skill and patience. They would strike the metal with controlled force, gradually transforming the flat sheet into a gentle curve that formed the bowl of the spoon. Each strike was deliberate, echoing the rhythm of their breath, as they crafted the delicate contours that would cradle soup and broth. The handles, too, received special attention. They were often elongated and elegantly tapered, designed for comfort and ease of use. Artisans would measure the length of each handle carefully, typically ranging from 6 to 8 inches, although some were longer for serving purposes. This measurement was vital, as a spoon that was too short would be cumbersome, while one that was too long would be unwieldy for everyday use. To ensure consistency, artisans developed simple jigs or guides that would assist them in maintaining the correct dimensions. These jigs were often made from wood, providing a stable base against which the metal could be shaped. The use of these tools exemplified the meticulous nature of the crafting process. Once the spoons were shaped, they would be polished, a process requiring a soft cloth and a gentle touch. The polishing compound, often made from powdered stone or fine sand, would be rubbed into the metal to create a smooth, reflective surface. This not only enhanced the aesthetic appeal of the spoon, but also made it more hygienic, allowing for easier cleaning after meals. Um, I... The artisans took great pride in their work, often marking their spoons with unique symbols or initials to signify their craftsmanship. This practice fostered a sense of identity within the community of spoon makers, encouraging a spirit of friendly competition and excellence. Now we can imagine the production schedules that guided these artisans. Their days would often begin at sunrise, with the first light illuminating the workshop. They would gather their tools, preparing for a day filled with the rhythmic sounds of metal against metal. Each artisan had their own routine, often beginning with the cutting of metal sheets, then moving on to the forging process, and finally the polishing. This daily rhythm provided a comforting structure to their lives, a predictable pattern amidst the evolving world around them. Throughout the week, artisans would work diligently, often producing several spoons each day. They would stockpile their creations, storing them in neat wooden boxes or woven baskets. Each box would be labeled with the size and type of spoon contained within, creating an organized system that allowed for easy access when merchants came to purchase their wares. The pricing of these spoons varied greatly, depending on factors such as size, material, and artistry. A simple bronze spoon might fetch a modest price, while an intricately designed silver spoon could be quite valuable, commanding a higher price tag. Families often saved for special occasions, investing in a beautiful spoon that would become a cherished part of their tableware. The etiquette surrounding spoon usage was also significant in Byzantine culture. Families would often have designated spoons for specific purposes. For instance, a smaller spoon might be reserved for dessert or delicate broths, while a larger spoon would be used for serving hearty soups and stews. This attention to detail reflected the importance of meal presentation and the respect given to culinary traditions. When hosting a meal, the arrangement of spoons was an art in itself. The host would carefully place each spoon beside the corresponding bowl, ensuring that all guests knew which utensil to use for each dish. Such practices not only showcased the host's hospitality, but also reinforced social norms surrounding dining etiquette. Meals were often a time of connection, where families gathered together to share stories and laughter. The spoons, though simple utensils, played a significant role in this intimacy. Each scoop of soup or bite of stew, lifted by a lovingly crafted spoon, became a shared experience, binding families together with the rhythm of their meals. As we imagine these gatherings, we can picture the soft sounds of spoons clinking against bowls, the gentle laughter of children, and the comforting aroma of a home-cooked meal. These moments, filled with warmth and simplicity, were integral to Byzantine life, further emphasizing the importance of the humble spoon. Even the process of cleaning and storing these spoons was methodical. After a meal, spoons would be rinsed with warm water, often using a soft cloth, to wipe away any remnants of food. Careful attention was paid to ensure that no scratches marred their polished surfaces. Once cleaned, they would be placed back into their designated storage boxes, awaiting the next gathering or meal. This cycle of creation, usage, and caring for spoons continued, day after day, year after year. Each spoon became a silent witness to the daily rituals of life, embodying the essence of Byzantine culture. As we immerse ourselves in this serene world of spoon crafting, let us take a moment to breathe deeply, inhaling the quiet beauty of these everyday objects, and exhaling the stresses of the day, slowly and gently. we find ourselves surrounded by the unassuming yet profound legacy of the artisans who shaped them. A legacy that continues to resonate through the ages. As the Byzantine Empire flourished, so too did the intricate details of daily life. The spoon, a simple yet essential utensil, found its way into the routines of the people. Spoons were not merely tools for consuming food. They were part of a well-defined etiquette, a reflection of societal norms. Each household had its own way of managing these utensils, and the sizes of spoons became a matter of subtle importance. In the heart of each home, families would gather around the dining table, where spoons of varying sizes awaited their use. The larger spoons, known as soup spoons, were designed for serving hearty broths and stews, while the smaller dessert spoons were reserved for sweet delights. The size of each spoon was meticulously standardized to ensure proper portioning. This standardization was a process that involved careful measurements, often taken with the utmost precision using simple tools such as calipers or rulers fashioned from wood or metal. To create the standard sizes, artisans would begin by selecting the finest materials. Commonly, silver was favored for its beauty and antimicrobial properties. However, bronze and even clay alternatives were used, especially in households of varying means. Once the material was chosen, a skilled craftsman would heat it, shaping it into a spoon with delicate strokes. The process of shaping a spoon required a keen eye and steady hands. The craftsman would first create a rough outline, then gradually refine it. Each spoon took approximately 20 to 30 minutes to mold and perfect, with every curve and angle carefully considered. The bowl of the spoon, where food would rest, needed to be wide enough to hold a generous amount, yet shallow enough to allow for easy sipping. Achieving this balance of form and function was crucial. Once the spoon was shaped, it would undergo a polishing process. This step involved the use of fine sand and cloth to achieve a smooth and shiny finish. The artisans took pride in their work, often spending hours ensuring that each spoon gleamed in the light. Polished spoons were then stored in specially crafted boxes, often lined with soft fabrics to prevent scratches. These boxes were not merely functional. They were often adorned with intricate carvings and painted designs, reflecting the artistic skills of the craftsman. As for etiquette, the size of the spoon used was indicative of the meal being served. For example, during formal banquets, a larger soup spoon would be placed beside the bowl, signifying the richness of the broth. In contrast, a smaller spoon might accompany a fruit compote, indicating a lighter course. The placement of spoons was always deliberate, following a carefully observed protocol that dictated the sequence of the meal. The Byzantine people understood that the act of dining was a ritual, a time for family and friends to connect. The proper use of spoons was essential to this ritual. Guests were expected to know which spoon to use and when to use it. It was customary to wait for the host to begin the meal before taking up one spoon. This practice emphasized respect and consideration for one another, weaving a thread of civility through the fabric of their society. In bustling markets, the price of spoons varied widely, depending on their size and material. A simple wooden spoon could be obtained for a few coins, while a finely crafted silver spoon might command a price that required saving for weeks. Families often considered the purchase of new spoons a significant investment. When a spoon was lost or damaged, it was not uncommon to see a family member searching diligently for a replacement, ensuring that their dining experience remained complete. The storage of spoons was an art in itself. In many households, spoons were displayed in ornate containers, sometimes mounted on walls or placed in decorative cabinets. These displays serve not only as functional storage, but also as a means of showcasing the family's wealth and taste. Gilded spoons, for example, might be reserved for special occasions, while everyday spoons would be kept in simpler, more accessible locations. As we reflect upon the lives of those who crafted and utilized these spoons, we can imagine the gentle rhythm of their days. Spoons were cleaned and polished regularly, often involving a simple routine of rinsing in warm water and drying with a soft cloth. This act of care resonated deeply, as it was not merely about maintaining an object. It was a ritual of love and respect for the tools that facilitated nourishment. With each meal, the spoons became vessels of stories shared, laughter exchanged, and memories built. Each clink of the spoon against a bowl, each gentle stirring of the soup, added to the rich tapestry of life in Byzantium. Little by little, the spoons became embedded in the fabric of their culture, silently participating in the daily rituals of existence. In the evenings after the last meal had been enjoyed, families would often gather to recount their day. The spoons, now resting quietly in their boxes, would have witnessed countless stories. The soft murmur of voices filled the air, a tranquil backdrop to the winding down of the day. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the household, the importance of the spoon lingered. It served as a reminder of connection, of nourishment, and of the simple joys found in every meal. Each spoon was not just an object. It was a bridge between past and present, a vessel of experience, lovingly crafted and cherished. Listen, in quiet moments of reflection, as we breathe slowly, we can imagine ourselves in those Byzantine homes, surrounded by family, sharing a meal. The soothing sound of spoons gently touching bowls, the aroma of freshly prepared dishes, and the warmth of companionship envelop us. All these elements come together, creating a serene atmosphere that soothes the mind and spirit. And so, the story of Byzantine spoon size standardization unfolds, a testament to the unassuming yet profound influence of this simple utensil. Each spoon, with its specific size and shape, reflects the larger narrative of an empire that thrived on connection and community. Together, we embrace the calmness of this history, allowing it to cradle us into a gentle sleep as the legacy of these humble spoons lingers softly in our minds. As we delve deeper into the world of Byzantine spoon size standardization, let us focus on the specific details that shaped this seemingly mundane aspect of daily life. Imagine a workshop, modest in size, filled with the soft sounds of metalworking. Craftsmen would gather, their hands busy with the tools of their trade. They would employ gentle hammering, shaping copper and silver into delicate spoons. Each stroke was a testament to skill, precision, and care. In these workshops, various tools were essential. Hammers of differing weights, anvils of sturdy iron, and molds carved from fine wood, all played a crucial role in producing spoons of consistent size. The craftsman would measure each spoon carefully, often using a simple wooden ruler marked in small increments. The standard size was crucial, particularly for soup consumption, as it ensured that each spoonful was both appropriate and pleasing. The typical spoon size, as determined by the Byzantine authorities, was approximately 15 centimeters in length. This measurement allowed for a comfortable grip and an ideal length for reaching into shallow bowls. The bowls themselves, often made of earthenware or glazed pottery, were designed to complement the spoon's dimensions, creating a harmonious dining experience. As we picture this scene, let us take a moment to breathe slowly, feeling the peace in the air as craftsmen work and create. Each spoon was not only a utensil, but also a reflection of the artistry and culture of the era. The materials used were vital. Silver spoons, for example, were often reserved for the elite. Copper spoons, while more common, still held a certain charm. The artisans, with their skilled hands, would polish the spoons until they gleamed, ensuring that each piece was not only functional but also beautiful. The polishing process was meticulous. It involved the use of fine cloths and natural abrasives, such as powdered stone or sand. This attention to detail ensured that every spoon, regardless of its material, would be welcomed at the dining table. Once the spoons were crafted and polished, they needed a proper place for storage. The typical Byzantine household often had a dedicated chest, often made of wood, lined with soft fabric to protect the utensil. Within this chest, spoons were arranged with care. Smaller spoons for children, delicate silver spoons for guests, and sturdy copper spoons for daily use all had their designated spaces. This organization reflected an understanding of etiquette and respect for one's guests, as well as a deep appreciation for the art of dining. Every morning, as the sun crept over the rooftops, the day began with preparation. The household would awaken slowly, the aroma of freshly baked bread wafting through the air. As the family gathered around the table, a ritual unfolded. Each member knew their role. The elder would serve the soup, carefully ladling it into bowls, the warmth radiating from the steaming liquid. Children would eagerly await their turn, each one reaching for a spoon, mindful of the size that suited them best. The etiquette was simple yet profound. One must always pick the correct spoon for the meal at hand. The larger spoons, often used for hearty stews, were set aside, while the smaller spoons were designated for delicate soups. Imagine the steady rhythm of the meal, as bowls were filled and spoons dipped in. Each spoonful was a dance of balance and grace, a reflection of the careful standardization that had been established. The act of eating became a communal experience, fostering connection among family members. As the meal progressed, the spoons would occasionally meet the bowls with a gentle clinking sound, a soothing melody that filled the room. The bowls were often adorned with intricate designs, telling stories of their own. Each bowl echoed the craft of its maker, while each spoon complemented its shape, creating a symphony of artistry. After the meal, the spoons would be carefully washed, often in warm water infused with herbs for a gentle scent and cleanliness. The act of cleaning was as ritualistic as the meal itself. Spoons and bowls were treated with respect, ensuring their longevity and continued use. They were dried with soft cloths and returned to their designated chest, ready for the next gathering. In Byzantine society, the value of spoons extended beyond mere practicality. The size and material of a spoon could signify status. A simple copper spoon might be common among the laborers, while a beautifully crafted silver spoon could indicate wealth and refinement. This hierarchy added a layer of complexity to the otherwise mundane act of eating. As we lay here, we can reflect on the simplicity of these moments, where a spoon became a vessel for nourishment and connection. Each meal shared, each spoon used, contributed to a larger narrative that intertwined the lives of those within the household. The procurement of spoons was also significant, reflecting the economy of the time. Craftsmen would often sell their wares at local markets, where the trade of utensils was a common sight. A standard spoon might fetch a price of a few coins, making it accessible to many. Yet, the more intricate designs, embellished with patterns or engraved with family crests, could demand a higher price, often reserved for the wealthier classes. Almoy. The act of purchasing a spoon was often accompanied by a careful consideration of its size and shape. Buyers would hold the spoon in their hands, feeling its weight, testing its balance, all while discussing its suitability with the vendor. This tender negotiation echoed the same care and attention that went into the crafting of the spoon itself. Now, let us take a moment to breathe deeply, settling into the rhythm of this history. Each transaction, each careful selection of a spoon, wove the fabric of a community that cherished its culinary traditions. The relationships built around the simple act of sharing a meal fostered a sense of belonging and warmth. And so, in this quiet exploration of Byzantine spoon size standardization, we find ourselves enveloped in the gentle embrace of history. Little by little, we drift into a state of serene contemplation, guided by the mundane yet profound significance of these small, humble utensils. Each spoon tells a story of craftsmanship, community, and connection, inviting us to slow down, to breathe, and to appreciate the beauty found in the simplest of things. In the heart of Byzantine society, the intricacies of spoon selection extended far beyond mere functionality. The materials used in crafting these utensils revealed much about their intended purpose. Silver, for instance, was a favored choice for the affluent, known for its durability and elegance. Bronze and tin were also prevalent, each offering different weights and finishes, providing a tactile experience unique to each spoon. The process of crafting a spoon was meticulous. Craftsmen, often referred to as silversmiths or coppersmiths, would begin with a carefully chosen piece of metal. This metal would be heated until it softened, allowing the artisan to shape it with precision. Each spoon would be hammered into form, ensuring the bowl was perfectly rounded and the handle comfortable to grip. Time was taken to polish the spoon, revealing its luster. This polishing process, often done with fine cloths and special powders, could take several hours. A well-made spoon would shine brightly under the dim light of oil lamps, a testament to the skill of the craftsman. Once crafted, the spoon was often displayed in a communal space, perhaps a kitchen or dining hall. Here, it was carefully stored among other utensils, each spoon assigned a specific place based on its size and purpose. Larger spoons meant for serving would be set aside from smaller ones, designated for individual use. When it was time to enjoy a meal, the selection of the appropriate spoon was a ritual in itself. Diners would take a moment to consider which spoon best suited the dish before them. A larger, deeper spoon might be chosen for a hearty soup, while a smaller, more delicate spoon would serve well for a rich dessert. The act of deciding which spoon to use was accompanied by a gentle conversation. Friends and family would share their preferences, often reminiscing about past meals and the spoons that had accompanied them. This sharing of memories added a layer of intimacy to the dining experience, creating a bond through the simple act of choosing a spoon. Cost was another consideration. A finely crafted silver spoon might command a higher price, often reflecting the craftsmanship and time invested in its creation. A well-made spoon could cost several denarii, a significant amount in the Byzantine economy. In contrast, simpler wooden spoons, though less expensive, were perfectly functional and widely used by those of modest means. These spoons were often carved from local wood, shaped with care, and polished to a smooth finish. Their price made them accessible, allowing every household to partake in the communal act of eating with utensils. The etiquette surrounding spoon usage was equally important. In a formal setting, the placement of spoons was dictated by the course of the meal. For a traditional Byzantine feast, multiple spoons might be set out, designated for various dishes. The first course might feature a larger spoon for soup, while subsequent courses would be accompanied by smaller spoons for sides and desserts. As diners enjoyed their meal, the etiquette dictated that spoons be handled with care. One would pick up a spoon with a graceful motion, bringing it to the mouth gently, avoiding any clattering against the bowl. This consideration added to the overall harmony of the dining experience, reflecting respect for both the food and the company. After the meal, spoons were cleaned with equal attentiveness. Wooden spoons required washing with warm water and soft cloths to prevent cracking, while metal spoons might be polished anew to maintain their shine. This gentle care ensured that each spoon remained a cherished part of the household, ready for the next gathering. The storage of spoons was a matter of pride. Many households would have designated drawers or containers, often lined with soft fabric to protect the utensils. The spoons would be arranged neatly, perhaps sorted by size or material, each one a reflection of the family's culinary habits and preferences. In the busy markets of Byzantium, where the trade of spoons flourished, vendors would display their wares in a manner that invited inspection. Shoppers would often run their fingers over the polished surfaces, considering the weight and balance of each piece. The interaction between vendor and buyer was a dance of sorts, with each party understanding the nuances of negotiation. Prices would be discussed, sometimes haggled over, but always with a sense of mutual respect. A well-respected vendor might offer a discount to loyal customers, recognizing the importance of maintaining good relationships within the community. At times, the selection of a spoon could involve an entire family, each member providing their opinion on the size and shape. Little by little, decisions were made, always with an eye towards practicality and beauty. This collaborative approach reinforced familial bonds, as the act of choosing a spoon became a shared experience, a moment of togetherness amidst the daily routines. As the shadows lengthened in the Byzantine twilight, families would gather for their evening meals. The act of lifting a spoon, be it a silver one twinkling in the candlelight or a simple wooden spoon, became a soothing ritual. Each scoop of soup or bite of stew was accompanied by the soft clinking of spoons against bowls, a gentle reminder of the communal nature of dining. Even in the quiet moments between courses, the presence of spoons remained significant. They served not just as tools for eating, but as vessels of connection, allowing individuals to partake in something greater than themselves. Each spoon was a bridge between past and present, a reminder of countless meals shared and memories created. And so, as we explore the depths of Byzantine spoon-size standardization, we find ourselves nestled in the embrace of history. Little by little, we drift deeper into a tranquil understanding of how these humble utensils shape the fabric of daily life. Each spoon, with its specific size and form, carries whispers of tradition and care, inviting us to reflect on the beauty of the mundane. Through the simple act of measuring, we find a rhythm that soothes, a reminder of the gentle flow of time, and the lasting bonds forged through the shared experience of a meal. In the quiet corridors of Byzantine life, where the rhythm of daily routines shaped the essence of existence, the details of spoon-sized standardization unfold like the gentle turning of pages in a forgotten book. Each spoon, crafted from materials like silver, bronze, or wood, was not merely a utensil, but a reflection of the values and customs that defined an era. Silver spoons, with their lustrous sheen, were often adorned with intricate designs, while wooden spoons, simpler in form, whispered tales of the humble kitchens from which they came. The artisans who shaped these spoons possessed skills passed down through generations. They understood the delicate balance of weight and size. They knew that a spoon too large could overwhelm a delicate broth, while one too small might leave a diner longing for more. In the Byzantine Empire, the standardization of spoon sizes was a meticulous endeavor. Measuring tools were crafted from sturdy materials, often made of wood or metal, to ensure precision. The artisans would use simple techniques, such as string or carefully crafted calipers, to determine the appropriate dimensions. Each spoon was carefully measured to ensure it fell within a specific range. A standard spoon might measure approximately 6 to 8 inches in length, with a bowl diameter of about 1.5 to 2 inches. Imagine the gentle clinking of measuring tools as artisans prepared their materials. The wooden planks, smoothed down to a fine finish, would rest on a sturdy surface, ready to be transformed. The artisans would take great care in choosing their wood, selecting types that were not only durable, but also pleasing to the eye. The grains of the wood would often reveal beautiful patterns, each unique, much like the stories they would come to carry. Once the wood was selected, the artisans would begin their work. They would cut the wood into rough shapes, carving out the bowls with a series of gentle strokes. This process, slow and methodical, required patience. Each carve was a dance of sorts, a rhythmic motion that would lead to the creation of a tool destined for communal gatherings. The metal workers, too, played an integral role in this narrative. They would melt down silver or bronze, pouring it into molds designed for spoon shapes. The heat would transform the formless metal into something beautiful, something functional. As the metal cooled, the workers would polish it to a shine, ensuring that the spoons not only functioned well, but also provided a sense of elegance to the dining experience. Once crafted, these spoons needed to be stored properly. Wooden spoons were often kept in simple wooden boxes or hung on walls, a display of culinary tools that spoke of readiness and hospitality. Silver spoons, with their reflective surfaces, might have been stored in velvet-lined cases, protected from tarnish and wear, for they were precious and often reserved for special occasions. The etiquette surrounding the use of spoons was as detailed as the crafting process itself. When dining, the placement of spoons reflected one's status and the formality of the gathering. A well-set table would feature spoons laid out in an orderly fashion, aligned perfectly beside the bowls. The arrangement would often mirror the hierarchy of the guests, with the finest spoons reserved for the most honored individuals. As meals commenced, the ritual of using spoons began. Each diner would gently lift their spoon, the metallic or wooden surface cool against their fingers. They would dip it gracefully into the broth, allowing the warm liquid to fill the bowl before lifting it to their lips. The act of sipping was accompanied by soft sounds, a melody of spoons meeting bowls, echoing through the room, creating a harmonious atmosphere. Conversations would flow, each word punctuated by the gentle clinking of spoons. Little by little, the gatherings fostered connections, deepening bonds between friends and family. The use of a spoon, simple yet profound, allowed for shared moments where laughter and stories intertwined with the meal. In the bustling marketplaces, the price of spoons varied significantly based on material and craftsmanship. A simple wooden spoon could cost just a few coins, affordable for many households, while a finely crafted silver spoon could demand a greater sum, a reflection of both artistry and wealth. The artisans would often showcase their wares, inviting passers-by to admire the beauty and utility of their creations. Throughout the Byzantine Empire, the importance of standardized spoon sizes extended beyond mere aesthetics. It became an essential aspect of social order, a way to maintain harmony during communal meals. Even in the smallest details, the influence of spoons was felt. As people adapted to these standards, they contributed to a rich tapestry of culinary practice that defined their society. The spoons played a role in more than just the act of eating. They were integral to the rhythm of life itself. Families would gather at designated times, often around sunset, to share a meal. The act of preparing the soup, an essential dish in Byzantine cuisine, was a ritual in itself. Ingredients were chosen with care. Lentils, grains, vegetables, and herbs, each selected for their flavor and nourishment. As the preparations began, the kitchen would fill with the sounds of chopping and stirring, a gentle symphony of activity. The soup would simmer on the hearth, its fragrant steam rising slowly, enveloping the space in warmth. And as the soup was ladled into bowls, the spoons would be ready, each one a small but crucial part of the gathering. The timing of meals was precise. It was customary to serve soup first, allowing diners to savor its warmth and flavor. The spoons would glide effortlessly through the steaming bowls, lifting the nourishing liquid to eager lips. The act of consuming soup was not hurried. It invited leisure, an experience to be cherished. The etiquette surrounding soup consumption dictated that diners should take small, delicate sips, allowing the flavors to unfold slowly. The sound of a spoon touching the bowl was a gentle reminder of the shared experience. Little by little, as bowls emptied, conversations would deepen and bonds would strengthen, all while the spoons played their part, bridging gaps between individuals. As the meal drew to a close, the spoons would make their way back to the table, resting beside the empty bowls. The careful attention given to spoon size and shape had served its purpose well. Each dining experience became a symphony of sights and sounds, a reflection of a culture deeply intertwined with the rituals of eating. And so, in the heart of Byzantine life, the standardization of spoon sizes transcended mere measurements. It became a means of connection, a subtle reminder of the beauty found in everyday moments. Each spoon, lovingly crafted and carefully used, tells a story of tradition, of community, of the gentle flow of life through shared meals. No, in the gentle light of the Byzantine kitchen, the spoons awaited their turn, resting on wooden racks, each one a testament to the craft of those who shaped them. The humble spoon, often overlooked, held a significant role in the daily rituals of dining. Each utensil was meticulously crafted, typically from silver or bronze, materials chosen not only for their durability, but also for their ability to convey beauty and craftsmanship. Oh, Artisans would begin their work by selecting the finest metals, ensuring that each spoon would endure the test of time. The process of shaping these spoons was deliberate and methodical. Using tools such as hammers and anvils, they would gradually form the bowl and the handle, each stroke precise and purposeful. The dimensions of a spoon varied based on its intended use, but for the consumption of soup, a bowl measuring roughly 5 to 6 centimeters in diameter was often favored. Wow! This careful measurement aimed to harmonize with the depth of the bowl used for soup, allowing an optimal amount of liquid to be lifted with each delicate sip. The artisans would take particular care to ensure that the handle was long enough to reach comfortably into the depths of the bowl, typically around 15 to 18 centimeters in length. Once the spoons were crafted, they would be polished to a soft sheen, enhancing their appeal. This polishing process was not only for aesthetics, it also ensured that the spoon would be pleasant to hold, gliding smoothly against the lips. The rhythmic motion of polishing, done with soft cloths and gentle strokes, transformed the raw metal into a gleaming utensil ready for use. Nibi, awai, naim, wedi, do, awa. After the spoons were polished, they were stored in designated areas of the kitchen, often in woven baskets made from reeds or soft cloth pouches, ensuring they were safe from scratches and tarnishing. This careful storage reflected the value placed on these utensils. Every meal was a ritual, and each spoon was an essential tool in that ritual. The act of selecting a spoon was almost sacred, a moment of contemplation that prepared the diner for the meal ahead. In the bustling kitchens of the Byzantine Empire, where the scents of herbs and simmering broths intertwined, a family member would carefully choose a spoon based on a few factors. The size of the spoon was paramount. A larger spoon might be chosen for a hearty broth, while a smaller one was reserved for lighter, more delicate soups. The weight of the spoon also played a role. Lighter spoons were preferred for rich, flavorful broths, as they allowed for a more effortless experience. Once the spoon was selected, it was lifted with a gentle grace, cradled in the palm, as the diner prepared to partake in the meal. The act of lifting the spoon to the mouth was performed with care, mindful of the etiquette that surrounded eating. Little by little, each diner would take their turn, savoring the soup in a manner that reflected the harmony of the meal. As soup was consumed, careful attention was paid to the sound of the spoon against the bowl. This sound, soft and melodic, created a rhythm that filled the air, marking the passage of time during the meal. Spoons would dip, glide, and return, each motion synchronized with the soft murmurs of conversation. The etiquette of soup consumption was as much about the spoon as it was about the diners. Conversations would flow slowly, punctuated by the gentle clinking of utensils. A well-timed pause allowed for reflection, for laughter, for the enjoyment of each other's company. The spoons, then, were not mere tools. They were participants in the gathering. Now, the soup itself was an art form, prepared with care and attention to detail. Ingredients were selected meticulously. Fresh vegetables, herbs, and meats would be chosen based on the season, each ingredient contributing to the overall experience of the meal. The preparation often began early in the morning. The kitchen would fill with the sounds of chopping, simmering, and stirring as cooks moved through their routines. This was a time for methodical work, where each task flowed into the next. Broths would be simmered for hours, allowing flavors to meld, while vegetables were cut into uniform pieces, ensuring even cooking. Once the soup reached its desired flavor, it was served in bowls designed to complement the spoons. These bowls were often wide and shallow, allowing for easy access with the spoon, and were crafted from the same materials as the spoons, often adorned with intricate designs. The act of serving was done with care, as each bowl was filled to a comfortable level, ensuring that diners could enjoy their soup without the risk of spilling. Yes. During the meal, diners would often follow a specific order, reflecting the hierarchy of the gathering. Elders and honored guests would be served first, their spoons lifted with reverence as younger members waited patiently for their turn. This gradual unfolding of service fostered a sense of community and respect. As the meal progressed, the rhythm of spoon consumption continued. Little by little, bowls would empty and the spoons would glide effortlessly, creating a soothing soundscape. The experience was not rushed. It was savored, each sip a moment of connection. When the last drops of soup were consumed, the spoons returned to the table, resting beside the empty bowls. A moment of stillness before the next act of the meal. Cleaning and storing the spoons became a ritual of its own, as they were washed in warm water, dried carefully, and returned to their resting places. This care reflected the respect for the utensils and the meals they had served. In this way, the standardization of spoon sizes played a role far greater than mere practicality. It shaped the very nature of communal dining, emphasizing the importance of shared experiences, the beauty of slow consumption, and the subtle elegance of everyday rituals. And so, with each spoon carefully crafted, each meal thoughtfully prepared, the Byzantine way of life unfolded, nurtured by the simple act of soup consumption. Little by little, each ingredient, each utensil, and each moment converged to create a tapestry of connection, woven through the delicate threads of everyday life. What's in here? As the spoons lay quietly beside the empty bowls, one could almost hear the rhythms of daily life in Byzantium. Each spoon, crafted with care, had its own purpose, its own place in the intricacies of the dining experience. The materials used for making these spoons were often silver or brass, both prized for their durability and aesthetic appeal. Craftsmen took great care in selecting the right alloy, ensuring that the spoons would last through countless meals. In the marketplace, silver spoons might fetch a price of 10 to 20 denarii, reflecting both the cost of materials and the artisan's skill. Brass spoons, while less expensive, maintained a charm that was appreciated by many households. These prices made them accessible to various social classes, allowing families to partake in the communal act of dining, regardless of their means. When a family decided to purchase new spoons, they would often gather at the local market, where vendors displayed their wares with great pride. The clinking of metal could be heard as potential buyers inspected each spoon, weighing them in their hands, feeling the balance, and admiring the sheen. It was a ritual that encouraged conversation and connection, as families discussed the merits of different sizes and styles. In those moments, a mother might pick up a spoon, turning it over in her hand, contemplating the size. She would recall the last family gathering, thinking about how many soups were consumed and whether the spoons were truly adequate. Each size, whether large or small, had its purpose, and every family had its preferences. Little by little, preferences would evolve, influenced by changing tastes and the ever-present desire for comfort. Once the spoons were chosen, the next step was to bring them home. Carefully wrapped in cloth, they would be placed in a wooden chest, lined with straw to prevent scratches. This chest, often found in a corner of the kitchen, held not just the spoons, but a collection of utensils and cherished items. It was a treasure trove of memories, where each spoon had a story linked to family gatherings and quiet evenings. When mealtime approached, it was the responsibility of the youngest child to set the table. This task was treated with a sense of importance. The child would retrieve the spoons, placing each one precisely beside the corresponding bowl, ensuring that they gleamed under the soft glow of oil lamps. The ritual of setting the table was a moment of education, teaching respect for the dining experience and the utensils that would soon be used. As the family gathered, each member took a moment to appreciate the arrangement. The sight of the polished spoons, the warm bowls, and the fragrant soups created an atmosphere of tranquility. Little by little, they would settle into their seats, adjusting their posture and relaxing their shoulders, ready to enjoy the meal together. In the Byzantine tradition, it was customary to begin the meal with a brief moment of silence. This silence allowed the family to express gratitude, a moment to breathe deeply, and to appreciate the food that had been prepared. Then, as the first spoonful of soup was lifted, the rhythm of dining began. Each spoon glided smoothly through the warm broth, lifting morsels of ingredients with grace. As the meal progressed, conversation flowed gently, punctuated by the soft sounds of spoons meeting bowls. The size of the spoons influenced the pace of consumption. Larger spoons could gather more broth, while smaller ones allowed for a more measured experience. Each family member had their preferred size, and often discussions would arise about the merits of one over the other. Little by little, the nuances of the meal became a focal point for connection and engagement. At the conclusion of the meal, when the last drops of soup had been savored, the spoons were collected once more. It was a quiet process, routine and familiar. Each spoon was lifted gently from its resting place beside the bowl, and as they were gathered, one could feel a sense of completion wash over the table. They would be taken to the basin where warm water awaited, scented with herbs and a hint of soap. The washing of the spoons was a meditative act. Each spoon was rinsed under the warm water, the gentle flow creating a soothing sound. The family member tasked with this duty would carefully scrub each spoon to remove any remnants of the meal. This process took time, as attention to detail was paramount. They would wipe the spoons down with a soft cloth, ensuring that they shone brightly once more. Little by little, the spoons were returned to their chest, nestled alongside their companions, waiting patiently for the next gathering. This cycle of use, care, and storage created a rhythm that defined the dining experience in Byzantine households. It was not merely about consuming food. It was about honoring the act of sharing a meal. Each detail, from the size of the spoon to the method of cleaning, revealed a deep-seated respect for tradition and family. The spoons, in their simplicity, became symbols of connection. Little by little, they contributed to a legacy of shared experiences, a legacy built on the mundane yet profound act of eating together. And so, as the spoons rested silently in their chest, they held within them the echoes of laughter, stories, and the warmth of togetherness that defined Byzantine life. Ah, no. Ah. As the day melted into evening, the Byzantine household began to embrace its evening rituals. The family would gather in the dining area, where the soft glow of oil lamps illuminated the table, casting gentle shadows on the walls. Each place was set meticulously, with careful attention to detail. The spoons, polished and gleaming, found their places beside small bowls, ready to serve their purpose. In preparation for the meal, a cloth would be laid down, often woven from linen or cotton, soft against the polished wood of the table. The fabric would be smoothed out, ensuring there were no wrinkles or creases, as this reflected the care taken in the household. Little by little, the plates and bowls would be arranged, each chosen for the specific dishes to be served. It was common for these vessels to be earthenware or metal, with each material having its own unique qualities, both in appearance and in function. The spoons themselves varied in size, with each household developing its own preferences over generations. A standard spoon, suitable for soup, would typically measure around 6 inches in length. This measurement, while seemingly simple, was the result of centuries of informal consensus, a gentle agreement among families, neighbors, and communities. The spoons were crafted from various materials, including bronze, silver, and occasionally wood, each offering a different feel in the hand. In Byzantine culture, the size of a spoon was not merely a matter of personal choice. It was also a reflection of societal norms and etiquette. The larger spoons, often reserved for communal dishes, were about 7 inches long. These spoons would be used to serve food from shared platters, allowing for the generous transfer of the meal into personal bowls. The family members knew that the size of the spoon could impact the dining experience. A smaller spoon, approximately 5 inches, would be used for desserts, allowing for a more delicate approach to sweet dishes. Each member of the household understood these conventions instinctively, having been taught from a young age. Little by little, these lessons became woven into the fabric of their daily lives. When it came time to eat, the act was deliberate and serene. Each person would take a spoon in hand, feeling its weight and balance. The spoon would be lifted slowly, dipped gently into the soup, and then brought to the mouth in a smooth, flowing motion. The temperature of the soup was often tested first by a careful dip of the spoon's edge. The sound of the spoon meeting the bowl was soft, muted, creating a tranquil ambience around the dining table. There was an unhurried rhythm to the meal, as conversations flowed softly, punctuated only by the gentle clinking of utensils. Each household member partook in this ritual, savoring not just the food, but the shared experience itself. Little by little, the act of eating became a meditation on togetherness. Once the meal concluded, the spoons would once again find their place in the cycle of care. After the last spoonful of soup had been enjoyed, the family would gather the utensils and prepare them for cleaning. The task was often assigned to the youngest member, a cherished opportunity to learn the importance of maintaining household items. The cleaning process was methodical. A basin would be filled with warm water, the surface gleaming under the flickering light. A small amount of natural soap, typically made from olive oil, was added to the water. Little by little, the soap would create a gentle lather, perfect for washing the spoons. The young one would take each spoon, one at a time, and place it into the warm water, watching as it sank below the surface. The gentle ripples formed around each spoon, creating a serene moment of reflection. With a soft sponge, they would carefully scrub the surface, ensuring that it was free from any lingering traces of food. This process was done with a sense of reverence, as every spoon had its own story, its own place within the family history. After rinsing, the spoons were laid out on a clean cloth to dry. This would take some time, as the warmth of the water would need to evaporate gently, leaving the spoons ready for their next use. The sound of water droplets falling onto the cloth was almost meditative, a soothing background to the quiet of the evening. Once dried, they would be placed back in their designated chest, each spoon nestled comfortably among its companions. The chest itself was often beautifully crafted, made from sturdy wood, with intricate carvings that told stories of the family's lineage. The act of returning the spoons to their chest was not merely about storage. It was a way of honoring the tools that facilitated nourishment and connection. Little by little, the spoons acquired an almost sacred status within the household. As the evening deepened and the oil lamps flickered lower, the family members would settle into their evening routines. The cupboards would be closed, the chairs pushed in, and the table cleared, leaving a sense of tranquility in the space. The spoons, resting quietly in their wooden chest, held the essence of every meal shared and every laugh exchanged. In this way, the Byzantine tradition of spoon care and size standardization became a reflection of daily life, an intricate dance of routine, respect, and community. Each spoon, whether large for sharing or small for savoring, played a vital role in the rhythm of the household. Little by little, these simple tools united families, preserved traditions, and nurtured bonds that transcended generations. And so, as the world outside quieted, the spoons remained a steadfast reminder of the beauty found in the mundane, the gentle power of tradition, and the warmth of togetherness. The soft glow of the lamps flickered, and the household settled into the embrace of night, surrounded by the echoes of culinary history, deeply entwined with the story of every Byzantine family. Aye. In the quietude of the Byzantine household, the spoons were not merely utensils. They were symbols of order and harmony. The act of measuring a spoon, this simple task, was steeped in a meticulous process, one that echoed through the ages. Families would often gather to discuss the appropriate dimensions of their spoons, whispering about the ideal sizes in hushed tones, as if revealing precious secrets. The standardization of spoon sizes began not with the spoons themselves, but with the tools used in their creation. Craftsmen would select fine woods, often prized for their durability and aesthetic appeal. Maple and cherry were popular choices, both known for their strength and pleasing grain. A spoon would typically begin as a block of wood, carefully selected and measured. With gentle strokes of the chisel, the craftsman would carve the block into a shape resembling a spoon, a process taking several hours, sometimes even stretching into days. Each stroke was deliberate, each curve carefully designed to fit comfortably within the hand. As the shape began to emerge, the craftsman would pause to assess the size, often holding the spoon against a reference, a standard spoon perhaps, or a well-known measure of 12 centimeters in length. Once the body of the spoon was formed, attention turned to the bowl. The depth of the bowl was paramount, for it determined not only the capacity, but also the experience of consuming a meal. A standard bowl might measure 3 centimeters in depth, enough to cradle a generous portion of soup. Craftsmen would practice this art, measuring the depth meticulously with a small ruler, often made from a fine piece of metal or another piece of wood. The finishing touches involved smoothing the surface, a process that took time and care. Fine sandpaper, often made from crushed stone or fine cloth, would be employed to polish the spoon, ensuring it was free from splinters and imperfections. This step was crucial, as a well-made spoon should feel inviting against the lips and tongue, adding to the overall dining experience. After the spoons were crafted, they would be stored with care. Wooden chests, often lined with soft fabric to protect their delicate surfaces, became the resting place for these cherished utensils. Each chest was labeled, often etched with the family name, and spoons would be arranged in order, from the smallest for children to the larger serving spoons used during communal meals. The act of retrieving a spoon from its resting place was a ritual in itself. A family member, perhaps the eldest son or daughter, would approach the chest with reverence, gently lifting the lid and taking a moment to admire the craftsmanship. This was not a mere selection of a utensil. It was a connection to heritage, a connection to the many meals shared over generations. In the dining room, as the oil lamps cast a warm glow, the etiquette surrounding spoon usage was equally important. Each family member had a designated spoon for their personal use, often engraved with initials or a small family crest. The act of passing the larger serving spoon, with its generous bowl, was a careful orchestration, one that required attention and courtesy. The largest spoon would be placed on the communal dish, and each person would serve themselves with a respectful scoop, being sure to leave enough for others. This was a gentle reminder of communal living, where each person's choice was balanced against the needs of the whole. Little by little they would serve, ensuring no one felt rushed, and that the meal unfolded in a leisurely manner. With each bite, the spoons played a role, guiding the food from bowl to mouth. The sound of the spoon gliding against the pottery was a comforting melody, a soft rhythm that accompanied conversation. It was here in this shared experience that the spoons truly became vessels of memory, each one steeped in the laughter and stories of daily life. Oh, after the meal, the spoons would be rinsed gently in warm water, the care taken in this process reflecting the respect for the tools that aided in nourishment. A soft cloth, perhaps linen or cotton, would be employed to pat them dry, ensuring they were left spotless and ready for the next use. Storing the spoons after cleaning was yet another ritual. Each spoon was placed back into its designated space, the larger serving spoons often resting alongside the smaller ones, creating a harmonious arrangement. This system of organization was not merely practical. It was a practice that reinforced family roles and traditions, as everyone had a part to play in ensuring the spoons were cared for. The prices of these carefully crafted spoons varied greatly. Depending on the wood used and the skill of the craftsman, a finely made spoon could fetch several coins, a worthwhile investment for a family that valued quality. Even the simplest spoons, though, held significance, enhancing the dining experience and symbolizing the care taken in daily life. As evenings grew quiet and the household settled into comfortable routines, the spoons remained a testament to the art of craftsmanship and the rituals of dining. Little by little, these mundane objects continued to shape the lives of the Byzantine people, fostering connections and preserving the fabric of their community. In the stillness of the night, the wooden chest cradling the spoons stood as a guardian of memories, as the household drifted into a peaceful slumber, wrapped in the warmth of shared meals and the artistry of humble utensils. The gentle rhythm of life continued, softly echoing in the quiet corners of the Byzantine home, where each spoon, each meal, and each moment held within them the essence of a life well lived. And so, the story of spoon-size standardization unfolded, not as a tale of grandeur, but as a quiet journey into the heart of the everyday, where even the simplest acts held profound meaning. Little by little, the spoons, with their varied sizes and shapes, whispered the stories of the families they served, weaving a tapestry of tradition, care, and love that transcended time. Nyan, hey, In the heart of the Byzantine Empire, where the sun set gently over bustling markets and quiet homes, the matter of spoon-size standardization unfolded in a manner both intricate and mundane. Let us take a moment to imagine the tools and materials involved in this delicate process. Craftsmen, dedicated to their trade, relied on simple yet effective tools to create these essential dining utensils. A sharp chisel, held firmly in hand, would carve into pieces of smooth wood, perhaps birch or cherry, chosen for their fine grain and durability. The soft shavings of wood would fall to the ground, creating a small pile of fragrant remnants, while the craftsman carefully shaped the bowl of the spoon, ensuring it was neither too deep nor too shallow. Little by little, he would measure the size, often using a small ruler or a string, laid against the wood, guiding his hands to achieve the perfect dimensions. The standardization process involved not only the artisans, but also the householders who used these spoons. Each family would possess a set of spoons, perhaps 5 or 6, each differing slightly in size. The largest spoon might measure about 20 centimeters in length, ideal for serving hearty stews, while the smaller ones, around 10 to 12 centimeters, became the preferred choice for delicate soups and broths. As the evening meal approached, families would gather their spoons, aligning them with care on the table, ready for their nightly ritual. Storage of these precious utensils was a matter of etiquette as well. A dedicated wooden box, often intricately carved, would hold the spoons in a gentle embrace, preventing them from clanging together, which could disturb the tranquil ambience of the home. Families understood that the sound of metal clattering against wood could disrupt the serenity of a shared meal. Thus, the spoons would rest quietly, nestled in their soft, cushioned bedding of cloth, waiting for the next meal to grace the table. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow through the windows, the family would gather, the soft aroma of cooking filling the air. Each spoon would find its place in the rhythm of the meal. The largest spoon would be used first, as the stew was ladled into bowls, the thick broth gliding smoothly from the bowl to the waiting dish. The serving of food was a gentle process, each spoonful delivered with care, preserving the warmth and flavor of the dish. Once the main course was enjoyed, the smaller spoons would emerge for the soups. The family members would take their time, savoring each bite, the gentle clink of spoon against bowl creating a soothing melody in the background. Each spoon was not merely an object. It was a conduit for connection, fostering conversation and laughter amid the soft glow of flickering candles. The price of these spoons varied, of course, depending on the craftsmanship and materials used. A finely crafted wooden spoon might cost a small coin or two, while a simple version, perhaps made of less durable wood, could be acquired for a mere fraction of that. Families often saved their coins, budgeting for sets of spoons that matched in size and craftsmanship. In the marketplace, vendors would display their wares with care, arranging the spoons in neat rows, creating an inviting tableau for potential buyers. Each vendor, having gathered their own supplies, would take great pride in the quality of their wood. They understood that the size and shape of a spoon could influence a family's dining experience. Little by little, they would explain the nuances of each piece, guiding customers through the selection process, emphasizing the importance of choosing the right spoon for the right dish. Back in the homes, the routines of spoon usage extended beyond dinner. Breakfast, too, required a careful choice of utensil. The morning meal might consist of porridge or stews, prepared early and set to warm on the hearth. Families would rise slowly, stretching their limbs and gathering around the table. The largest spoon would be used again, serving the warm porridge, the steam curling into the air, a gentle reminder of the comfort of the meal to come. Even the act of washing the spoons was steeped in ritual. After the meal, the family would gather their utensils, each contributing a spoon to the basin of warm water. A soft cloth would glide over each spoon, ensuring every morsel was removed. The family took care to dry the spoons gently, placing them back into their wooden box, ready for the next evening's gathering. As the days passed into weeks, the family's routine solidified, a comforting cycle that echoed throughout the Byzantine household. The spoons, with their varied sizes, accompanied them through the seasons, witnessing the changes in food, family, and life itself. Little by little, they became part of the family story, each spoon retaining the essence of shared meals and memories forged over time. In larger households, the roles of family members became more defined. Children learned the importance of the spoons early on, often tasked with setting the table. They would carefully select the appropriate spoon for each dish, guided by the gentle whispers of their parents. The largest spoon for the stew, the smallest for the delicate broth. The act of choosing became a quiet lesson, instilling a sense of purpose and care in the young ones. As the evenings unfolded, the spoons continued to serve their purpose, marking the passage of time. They were not just tools for consumption. They became symbols of family unity, of shared laughter and quiet moments of reflection. Each spoon bore the marks of use, each dent and scratch a testament to the meals shared, the stories told, and the love exchanged around the humble dining table. And so, the journey of spoon-size standardization carried on, softly weaving its way through the daily lives of the Byzantine people. Slowly and gently, it became evident that even in the most ordinary objects, there exists a profound significance, a connection that binds us to one another and to the moments that define our existence. Little by little, with each meal served and each spoon lifted to the lips, the tapestry of life continued to unfold, woven with threads of care, tradition, and love. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a gentle glow over the Byzantine landscape, the preparation for the evening meal quietly began. Families would gather their chosen ingredients, the familiar rhythm of daily life resuming. In the kitchen, a subtle orchestra of utensils commenced its soft symphony. Wooden stirring spoons would glide against earthenware pots, while small bowls were meticulously arranged in a row on the long wooden table. The careful selection of spoons was a reflection of the meal to come. Each spoon, a simple yet significant tool, was crafted from materials that spoke to the era. Silver, with its soft gleam, was often reserved for special occasions, while brass and even occasional wooden spoons were more common in daily use. Each material held its own weight, its own texture, and its own story. The sizes of these spoons were not arbitrary. The largest spoon, often referred to as stew spoon, measured a full 10 inches in length, with a bowl that could cradle a generous half-cup of stew or broth. This spoon required careful handling, as it was designed to scoop and serve hearty portions. It was the essence of communal dining, bringing people together in shared nourishment. Next came the soup spoon, a more delicately sized utensil, measuring about 8 inches in length. The bowl of this spoon, slightly curved, held a quarter cup of liquid, perfect for savoring the warmth of a soup infused with herbs and spices. This spoon was essential for the evening meals, where savory broths were consumed slowly, allowing the aromatic flavors to linger. The etiquette of using this spoon was important. as each dip into the bowl was a gentle reminder to appreciate the moment, to pause and savor each taste. As families gathered around the table, the arrangement of spoons was a quiet ballet in itself. The largest spoon would be placed closest to the largest pot, while the smaller spoons flanked the sides, each one designated for its particular dish. The careful placement was not merely for aesthetics. It guided the flow of the meal. The order of serving was established, a soothing cadence to the evening. Once seated, the ritual of the meal commenced. The eldest would often take the first scoop, demonstrating the balance of sharing and moderation. As the stew was ladled into bowls, the sound of the spoon meeting the pot was a comforting reminder of home. Each bowl received its adequate share, measured with care, ensuring that all were nourished equally. The importance of this practice resided in the community it fostered, the conversations it ignited, and the bonds it strengthened. As the evening progressed, the smaller spoons would come into play. The dessert spoon, typically measuring around 6 inches, was introduced as the final course approached. This spoon, often crafted from silver, was intended for sweet delicacies, a gentle instrument for savoring honeyed treats and soft puddings. The act of passing the dessert spoon around felt ceremonial, each family member partaking in the sweetness of the moment. The storage of these spoons was equally meticulous. In households, a dedicated chest or drawer, often lined with soft cloths, safeguarded these precious utensils. Each spoon had its place, organized by size and use, a quiet testament to the values of order and care. This routine of storing and retrieving spoons was a practice learned over generations, a simple act that brought comfort and continuity to family life. Children, too, learned the importance of spoon etiquette, guided by the gentle hands of their parents. They were taught to handle each spoon with respect, to appreciate its significance in the rituals of daily life. Little by little, these lessons became ingrained, a soothing rhythm that echoed through the years. The act of setting the table, of placing each spoon in its rightful spot, nurtured a sense of belonging, a feeling that they were part of something larger. In the early hours of the morning, as the sun began to rise, preparations for the next day's meals would begin once again. The rhythmic clinking of spoons and pots filled the air, a soft melody heralding the promise of nourishment. Each spoon was washed with care, dried thoroughly, and placed back into its designated spot. This ritual was more than mere upkeep. It was a reaffirmation of the day to come, of the meals yet to be enjoyed. The standardization of spoon sizes in Byzantine society played a crucial role in the organization of dining customs. The measurement system employed was an elegant blend of practicality and artistry. The spoons were not simply utensils. They were vessels of culture, embodying the care taken in meals shared among families and friends. The delicate balance between the sizes allowed for a harmonious dining experience, where each dish could be savored appropriately. Local artisans took pride in crafting these spoons, often using traditional techniques passed down through generations. The tools of the trade included hammers, files, and polishing cloths, each used in a meticulous process that transformed raw metals into beautifully formed utensils. This craftsmanship required patience and precision, reflecting the dedication to quality that was a hallmark of Byzantine life. In bustling markets, the conversation around spoon sizes flowed like the river as merchants displayed their wares. Prices varied, often influenced by the materials used, the intricacy of design, and the skill of the artisan. Wooden spoons were the most affordable, often exchanged for a few copper coins, while silver spoons commanded a higher price, their value recognized and revered. Customers would carefully examine each piece, weighing the balance, feeling the smoothness of the bowl, and appreciating the craftsmanship that went into each spoon. In quieter moments, as families gathered around the table, they would reflect on the spoons, the sizes, and the significance behind each choice. The act of eating became a shared experience, a meditation on the simple joys of life. Little by little, the spoons became an integral part of their identity, a gentle reminder of traditions upheld through generations. The rhythm of daily life continued, with each meal, each spoon, a thread woven into the tapestry of existence. How? In the early mornings, as the sun began to rise over the Byzantine Empire, the sound of gentle waves lapping against the shores of the Bosporus created a serene backdrop. Shopkeepers would begin their day, preparing their stalls to display their carefully crafted spoons. Each merchant had their own ritual, a routine that provided structure to the day ahead. They would wipe down their wooden tables, arranging their spoons in neat rows, all while considering the various sizes and shapes. The sizes of the spoons varied, yet each was designated for a particular purpose. The smaller spoons, often called soup spoons, measured approximately 6 inches in length, with a bowl that could hold just enough broth to savor the rich flavors of a well-prepared meal. The medium spoons, measuring around 8 inches, were used for serving and sharing, their larger bowls accommodating a variety of dishes. The largest spoons, sometimes up to 10 inches long, were reserved for cooking, perfect for stirring pots of hearty stews. The artisans who crafted these spoons worked diligently, often starting their days before dawn. They would gather their tools, which included chisels, files, and polishing cloths. With a steady hand, they would select pieces of wood or metal, inspecting each for imperfections. The sound of chiseling and scraping would fill the workshop as patterns began to emerge from the raw materials. The artisans understood the importance of balance and proportion. Each spoon had to feel comfortable in the hand, while also being pleasing to the eye. As the day progressed, the artisans would often take breaks, sipping on cups of warm herbal tea, allowing their minds to wander. They would reminisce about past creations, sharing stories of the different families who had commissioned their work. Customers would come and go, each with their own preferences and tastes. Some favored the simplicity of a plain wooden spoon, while others sought intricate carvings that told a story. Each interaction brought life to the shop, yet the artisans remained focused on their craft, mindful of the measurements and sizes they had perfected over time. In the afternoons, as the sun hung high in the sky, the merchants would engage in lively discussions about pricing and supply. Prices for spoons varied considerably based on size, material, and ornamentation. A basic wooden spoon might be sold for a mere 2 copper coins, while a beautifully crafted silver spoon could fetch a price of 20 coins or more. The discussions were calm and deliberate, as merchants weighed the pros and cons of their offerings. They considered their clientele, the wealthy patrons who preferred luxury and the everyday families who sought practicality. Once the arrangements were made, the merchants would carefully store their spoons. Wooden shelves lined the walls, holding stacks of spoons, each categorized by size and material. The larger spoons would rest in larger crates, while the smaller ones were neatly arranged in shallow boxes, labeled for easy access. The careful organization allowed for quick retrieval when a customer arrived, ensuring that no time was wasted in serving their needs. As evening approached, families would gather for dinner, the anticipation of a shared meal bringing smiles and warmth. Each member of the family would have their own designated spoon, a small yet significant detail that reinforced their place at the table. The act of selecting a spoon became a cherished tradition, with children learning from their parents the importance of choosing the right utensil. Choose wisely, a father might say, for a good spoon holds the essence of the meal. During the meal, the spoons danced gracefully from bowl to mouth, scooping up rich soups and savory stews. The rhythmic clinking of spoons against bowls created a soothing melody, a gentle reminder of the life shared around the table. Conversations flowed as smoothly as the food, with stories of the day being exchanged in a tranquil atmosphere. Each spoonful savored added to the collective experience, deepening bonds and creating memories. After the meal, the spoons would be gathered and washed, a simple ritual performed with care. The family members would take turns, rinsing the spoons under warm water, scrubbing them gently with a soft cloth. The process was meditative, each stroke bringing a sense of calm, each sparkle of the cleaned spoon a symbol of the day's warmth. Once dried, the spoons were returned to their designated place, often displayed in a special holder that showcased their beauty. In the quiet hours of the night, as the household settled into rest, the spoons stood silently in their holder, reflecting the soft glow of lantern light. Families would often speak of the memories associated with their spoons, recounting tales of laughter and joy shared around the table. Children would drift off to sleep, dreaming of the next meal, of the flavors yet to be discovered, and of the simple joy of gathering together. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into seasons, as the spoons continued their role in Byzantine life. They were not merely objects, but extensions of the family, imbued with stories and traditions. The significance of spoon size standardization became a matter of etiquette, a way to honor the meal and the gathering. Each size, each shape, carried with it an understanding of purpose and place. As the seasons changed, so too did the preferences for spoon design. Artisans would adapt, creating new styles that reflected the tastes of the times. Some families favored larger spoons for hearty winter soups, while others preferred delicate, smaller spoons for lighter summer broths. The ebb and flow of these preferences contributed to the ongoing conversation within the marketplace, a gentle reminder of the interconnectedness of daily life. In the midst of this, the art of spoon crafting continued to flourish. Each artisan sought to perfect their craft, guided by the wisdom of their predecessors. They understood that the size of a spoon could influence the experience of a meal, and thus the joy it brought. The precision required in measuring and creating these utensils became a labor of love, a dedication to the art of nourishment and connection. And so, little by little, the journey of the Byzantine spoon continued, steadfast, steady, and satisfying. Each spoon, a symbol of simplicity, of care, and of the profound connections formed over shared meals. The rhythm of spoon use echoed through the ages, a reminder of the mundane yet beautiful intricacies of daily life in the Byzantine Empire. And, as the spoons of the Byzantine Empire gained popularity, the need for standardization became increasingly evident. The variety of sizes, shapes, and materials used necessitated a system that would allow for consistency across households and marketplaces. This was not a matter of grandeur, but rather a subtle shift towards order and practicality in everyday life. Craftsmen began to gather in small guilds, sharing techniques and knowledge on the ideal dimensions for spoons. They would measure each piece meticulously. A common size for a dining spoon ranged from 6 to 8 inches in length, while dessert spoons were typically smaller, around 4 to 6 inches. The artisans would use simple tools, such as calipers or rulers made of wood or metal, to ensure precision. These measurements were not arbitrary. They served a purpose. A spoon that was too large might overwhelm a delicate broth, while one that was too small would struggle to carry the hearty ingredients of a robust stew. Gentle conversations flowed among the artisans, discussing the nuances of each size, each shape, and how they fit into the larger tapestry of culinary experiences. Storage of these crafted spoons was equally important. Households would often have designated spaces for their utensils. Wooden chests or woven baskets would hold the spoons, often lined with soft fabric to protect the delicate surfaces. The act of retrieving a spoon was a ritual in itself. Families would carefully lift the lid of the chest, the aroma of polished wood filling the air as they searched for their preferred utensil. Etiquette played a significant role in the use of spoons as well. When dining with guests, it was customary to present a selection of spoons, allowing each person to choose the one that best suited their dish. This was not merely a matter of preference, but a sign of respect, an acknowledgement of individual taste. Little by little, these customs became ingrained into the very fabric of Byzantine mealtime rituals. Now, Ende awali. The cost of these spoons varied widely depending on the materials used. Silver spoons, for example, were prized possessions, often passed down through generations. A silver spoon could cost a month's wages for a common laborer, while simpler wooden or clay spoons might be found for just a few coins. The decision on which utensil to use often reflected one's social standing, but even the simplest spoon held its own story. The manufacturing process of these spoons involved several steps. First, the raw materials were gathered. Artisans would source wood from local forests, selecting only the finest pieces. For silver spoons, miners would extract ore, which would then be smelted and molded into shape. This transformation was labor-intensive, taking hours, if not days, to complete. Once the material was ready, the artisans would begin the carving process. Using tools like chisels and knives, they would gently shape the spoon, ensuring a smooth finish. This process required patience and precision. The artisan would often take a step back, examining the piece from different angles, ensuring that each curve was just right. After the shaping was complete, the spoon would undergo polishing. This step was essential, as a well-polished spoon not only looked appealing but also felt pleasant against the lips. The polishing was usually done using fine sand or cloth, and it was a soothing ritual. As the artisan rubbed and smoothed, they would often hum or murmur, lost in the rhythm of their work. In a niho. How? When the spoons were finally complete, they would be displayed in the marketplace. Stalls filled with gleaming wooden, silver, and clay spoons would draw in passers-by. The prices were clearly marked, and the artisans would patiently explain the benefits of each material. The gentle clinking of spoons being handled accompanied their soft voices. Buyers would carefully consider their choices, often choosing a spoon that matched their tableware, a small detail that brought harmony to their dining experience. Once purchased, the spoons would find their way back to households, where they would be stored with care. Families often dedicated a specific drawer or cabinet to their utensils. It was common for children to be taught the importance of caring for the spoons, reminding them to wash them gently after each use, to avoid any scratches or dents. This small act of care was a lesson in respect for shared resources and it created a sense of stewardship that echoed throughout the generations. During mealtimes, the spoons played an essential role in the communal experience of dining. Families would gather around the table, bowls of soup and stew set before them. The rhythmic sound of spoons dipping into broth, the gentle clinking against ceramic bowls created a soothing ambience. The act of serving was a choreographed dance, with each person carefully handling their chosen spoon, scooping up rich, nourishing flavors. In the midst of this daily ritual, children learned the art of conversation, the gentle exchange of stories, and the sharing of laughter. Each spoonful of soup was a reminder of connection, of unity. Little by little, the act of eating became a cherished tradition, a source of comfort in a world that could sometimes feel overwhelming. Ah, Maui. As the evening settled in, families would complete their meals, slowly placing the spoons down, savoring the last remnants of their dishes. Afterward, they would wash the spoons, warm water flowing over the surfaces, a final act of care before placing them back into their designated space. The spoons, now clean and resting, awaited their next use, holding within them the echoes of laughter, the warmth of shared moments, and the simple joys of life. Slowly and gently, the cycle continued. The legacy of the Byzantine spoon persisted, a testament to the beauty of everyday life. The spoons, though mundane, became symbols of connection, of community, soothing reminders of the importance of nourishment, both physical and emotional. As the empire expanded, so too did the influence of its spoon sizes. Trade routes carried these artifacts far and wide, allowing for variations to emerge in distant lands. The gentle shaping of spoons adapted to the regional tastes and materials available. Little by little, the legacy of the Byzantine spoon transcended borders, whispered through the ages, inviting all who encountered it to partake in the simple pleasure of a shared meal. And so, the history of these utensils continued, quietly echoing through time. Each spoon, a humble yet profound reminder of the interconnectedness of life, the gentle rhythms of daily routines, and the artistry woven into the fabric of existence. As we reflect on this journey, may we find comfort in the simplicity of these stories. The art of spoon-making, the rituals of dining, and the connections formed over shared meals remind us of the beauty in the mundane. Little by little, may we embrace these moments as they come, finding joy in the quiet and the commonplace. As we delve deeper into the world of Byzantine spoon standardization, we find ourselves surrounded by the delicate, intricate processes that define daily life. The creation of these spoons involved a careful selection of materials, tools, and techniques, all orchestrated with a rhythm that mirrored the routines of the people who crafted and used them. The artisans responsible for spoon making often began their day in the early light of dawn. They would gather their tools, which included hammers, anvils, and chisels, each one worn from years of craftsmanship. The tools were stored meticulously, organized by size and purpose, providing a sense of order and predictability to their work. The most commonly used materials for spoons included silver, bronze, and sometimes wood. Silver, with its soft luster and malleability, was favored by the affluent, while bronze offered durability and a sturdy alternative for everyday use. Wood, though less common, was appreciated for its lightness and warmth. Each material required specific care and handling. For instance, silver spoons needed polishing to maintain their shine, while wooden spoons were often treated with oils to prevent cracking or splitting. The crafting of a spoon often began with a simple sheet of metal, or a carefully selected piece of wood. The artisan would measure the desired dimensions, typically a length of around 6 to 8 inches for a regular spoon. Little by little, they would outline the shape, marking the curves and the bowl with precision. This initial step was crucial, as it dictated the spoon's usability and aesthetic appeal. Wing down there. Next, the spoon would be cut, either by a saw for wooden varieties or with a chisel for metal. The sounds of the workshop were filled with the rhythmic tapping of metal on metal, or the gentle scraping of wood against wood. Each stroke was deliberate, each motion practiced. The process was meditative, allowing the artisan to focus solely on the task at hand, enveloped in the comforting embrace of routine. Once the shape was established, the artisan would move on to the smoothing process. This required the use of files or sandpaper, particularly for wooden spoons. The goal was to create a surface that was pleasing to the touch, free of splinters or rough edges. The artisan would take their time here, often taking breaks to assess their work, ensuring that each spoon would be as functional as it was beautiful. After smoothing, the next step involved polishing. For metal spoons, this meant buffing them with a soft cloth and a polishing compound. The shine would return, reflecting the light like a warm embrace. For wooden spoons, the artisan would apply a thin layer of oil, allowing it to soak in and create a barrier against moisture. This process was gentle, slow, and required a steady hand. As the spoons neared completion, they would be set aside for inspection. In a workshop bustling with artisans, a careful eye was essential. Each spoon was held up to the light, examined for imperfections. The artisans would often share their thoughts on each piece, discussing the nuances of design and function. This dialogue was as much a part of the process as the crafting itself, fostering camaraderie and mutual respect among the creators. Once inspected, spoons would be sorted according to size. The Byzantine standardization process had established a range of sizes to accommodate various dishes and preferences. A teaspoon, for instance, measured approximately 3 inches in length, ideal for stirring and tasting. A dessert spoon, slightly larger, measured around 5 inches, while a soup spoon typically reached 6 to 7 inches. These measurements, though seemingly trivial, reflected the culinary practices of the time, creating a direct link between spoon size and the enjoyment of food. The importance of proper sizing extended beyond practicality. Etiquette dictated that a smaller spoon was appropriate for lighter dishes, while larger spoons were reserved for heartier fare. This nuance highlighted the sophistication of Byzantine dining culture. As meals were served, the appropriate spoon was selected, signaling to all diners an understanding of the shared experience. Storage of these crafted spoons was another matter of care and consideration. Artisans often designed simple wooden boxes or fabric pouches to protect their spoons from dust and damage. These containers were often lined with soft materials, ensuring that each spoon remained safe and secure. When preparing for a meal, the host would select the spoons from their resting place, laying them out with intention, creating a visual harmony that complemented the table setting. In the dining halls of the Byzantine elite, the arrangement of spoons followed a meticulous schedule. The time of day played a significant role in shaping mealtime rituals. Breakfast, which was typically a lighter meal, called for smaller spoons, while the evening meal, often more elaborate, would feature larger, more ornate spoons. The sharing of meals, and thus spoons, took on an almost ceremonial quality. It was customary for hosts to ensure that every guest had an appropriate spoon at hand. Little by little, The act of passing spoons became a symbol of hospitality, a warm gesture of welcome and care. Shared spoons, particularly in communal settings, emphasized the value of connection and togetherness, allowing diners to partake in the meal without barriers. Yeah. As the spoons were used, they became vessels of memories, stories, and laughter, each scrape against a bowl or clink against a plate adding to their history. The gentle sounds of dining, the stirring of soup, the clink of utensils, created a soothing backdrop, echoing the importance of nourishment and companionship. In time, as with all things, the Byzantine spoon evolved. New materials emerged, and designs shifted with changing tastes and influences. Yet, the core principles of size and function remained steadfast, a testament to the enduring legacy of these humble utensils. Little by little, the story of the spoon continued, a quiet whisper threading through the tapestry of history, reminding us of the beauty found in simplicity, in rituals, and in the shared experience of meals, enjoyed under the soft glow of candlelight. As we drift through this exploration, may we find a sense of calm in the rhythm of life, in the crafting of spoons, and in the art of dining. Each moment, each bite, and each shared experience carries the weight of history, gently cradling us in its embrace. As we delve deeper into the world of Byzantine spoon-size standardization, we find ourselves in a realm of small details, gentle routines, and the serene passage of time. The spoons themselves, crafted from a variety of materials such as bronze, silver, and occasionally even wood, were often measured meticulously to ensure uniformity. The standard size for a soup spoon during this period typically ranged from 7 to 9 inches in length. This measurement was not arbitrary. It was a careful consideration of function and comfort. A spoon too long could lead to an awkward reach, while a spoon too short may not serve its purpose effectively. The artisans, skilled in their trade, would often use simple tools such as calipers and rulers, tools that were common yet essential to create these standardized spoons. The process of crafting these spoons was a labor of love. First, a blank was cut from a sheet of metal, then it was heated gently, softening it for shaping. Craftsmen would hammer the metal, working it slowly and gently into the desired form. Each stroke of the hammer was deliberate, each bend and curve carefully considered. It was a rhythm, a dance of craftsmanship echoing through workshops, filled with the soft sounds of metal meeting metal. Once shaped, the spoons would be polished. This polishing process was not merely for aesthetics. It was practical. A smooth surface allowed for easy cleaning, ensuring that each spoon remained a hygienic vessel for nourishment. The polishing would often be done using fine sand or cloth, and this step could take hours, as artisans worked to bring out the shine. After polishing, the spoons would be inspected for quality. Artisans would hold each spoon up to the light, checking for imperfections. A spoon that did not meet the standards would be melted down and reshaped, returning to the cycle of creation. Little by little, the process of making spoons became a reflection of the values of the Byzantine Empire. Attention to detail, quality craftsmanship, and a commitment to communal dining. Storage of these spoons also followed a gentle routine. Spoons were often kept in wooden chests or cabinets lined with soft cloth to prevent scratching. The chests themselves were sometimes ornately carved, adding an element of beauty to their functional purpose. When preparing for a meal, household members would gather the spoons, often taking care to select those that matched in size and style, reinforcing the standardization that was becoming increasingly important. As mealtime approached, the setting of the table became a ritual. Each spoon would be placed carefully beside a bowl, aligning perfectly with the plates. This arrangement offered a sense of order and harmony. The etiquette surrounding the use of spoons was equally detailed. Guests would wait for the host to signal the beginning of the meal, often by lifting their own spoon. This gesture was a quiet invitation, a signal that it was time to partake in the meal. Throughout the meal, the use of spoons was deliberate. Diners would lift their spoons with grace, dipping into the soup with a gentle flick of the wrist. Sipping from the spoon was done quietly, with care taken to avoid any noise or splash. Each person would take their time, savoring the flavors and allowing the warmth of the soup to envelop them. As the meal progressed, it was customary for individuals to engage in soft conversation, sharing stories and laughter that flowed as easily as the soup itself. The spoons, in their humble role, facilitated this interaction. Little by little, as the bowls emptied, the spoons became stained with the colors of the meal, each mark a reminder of the shared experience. Following the meal, the routine continued. Spoons were collected and returned to the kitchen. Here, they would be washed with care, often in lukewarm water mixed with a bit of natural soap made from olive oil. This gentle cleansing helped maintain the integrity of the spoons, preserving their beauty and function for future use. After washing, the spoons were laid out to dry on a soft cloth, each spoon placed carefully so they did not touch one another. This level of care ensured that the precious utensils remained in good condition, ready for the next gathering. The whole process of spoon use, from crafting to dining and finally to cleaning, created a cycle of life that resonated deeply within Byzantine culture. Each meal served was an opportunity not just to nourish the body, but to connect with others, to weave the fabric of community and family. The standardization of spoon sizes, while seemingly mundane, represented a commitment to quality and a shared experience. As the spoons varied little, they became symbols of unity. The act of dining was transformed into a carefully choreographed ritual, where the size of a spoon could influence the flow of conversation, the comfort of the meal, and the very essence of togetherness. In the larger context of the Byzantine Empire, these simple utensils played a role in the daily lives of its citizens. The standardization of spoons reflected a society that valued order, efficiency, and shared experiences. As the spoons found their place in homes, they became part of the larger story of civilization, a small yet vital piece of the daily puzzle. Imagine the countless meals shared, the countless stories exchanged. Each spoon, a quiet witness to the passage of time, held within its curves the echoes of laughter, the warmth of kinship, and the comfort of familiarity. Even the pricing of these spoons followed a thoughtful structure. In bustling markets, a simple bronze spoon might cost a small coin, while a delicately crafted silver spoon could command a higher price, a reflection of its artistry and the materials used. As people sought to acquire these spoons, they understood the value of quality. It was not simply about having a utensil. It was about the experience it brought with it, the community it fostered, and the history it represented. As you are. Little by little, as spoons filled the tables of the Byzantine Empire, they became more than mere objects. They were instruments of connection, vessels of nourishment, and staples of daily life, quietly influencing the rhythm of existence within this vibrant culture. Each spoon, a story unto itself, spoke softly of the time it spent in hands, cradled in the warmth of shared meals under the soft flickering of candlelight. Nay, why, nay, I need tell. As we gently conclude our exploration of the excruciatingly boring history of Byzantine spoon-size standardization, let us reflect on the delicate details we have unraveled. We meandered through the meticulous measurements and the subtle intricacies of utensil design, revealing the profound effect such mundane aspects had on daily life, and in some cases, on the fabric of an empire. We envisioned the quiet rooms where these spoons were crafted, their polished surfaces reflecting the soft light of candles, as the emperors and their subjects savored their soups. Now, imagine a serene night surrounding you, softly enveloping your body as you lay comfortably, perhaps with your head resting on a fluffy pillow. All is calm, all is still. If you found comfort in this gentle journey of history, we invite you to like, subscribe, or leave a comment to share your thoughts. And do remember to turn on loop, so this soothing experience may continue to cradle you softly through the night.